So the Royal Rumble is this Saturday, and I'm actually excited for once in like the past 3 years. Not so much for the show itself, because the show itself seems pretty predictable, which really undercuts the fact that I'm trying to do a predictions video on it. But beyond that, like, I'm actually excited for the road to WrestleMania this year. I'm excited to see where the Bloodline story goes, to see what happens with Cody. Will Cody be good? Or will Cody go back to AEW Cody at the end? Because we've already seen some extreme grandioseness from Cody's return. So are we going to get that? Or are we going to get, like, actual substance? Will we get steak Cody or sizzle Cody? That's what I'm excited to see moving forward. Like, there's a lot of good stuff, but let's get into some predictions. And like I said, the show seems pretty predictable. Just about everybody online kind of has the same general vibe for where we're going. So I'm going to say what I think is going to happen, and then give a few alternate ideas if I have any. So up first, the Women's Royal Rumble match. I'm going to sandwich this with Royal Rumbles. Also, by the way, it's not on the show yet. They definitely need to put Becky and Bayley's cage match on the pay-per-view, right? Like, I assume they probably have stuff for them in the Rumble, but no, not after what happened on Raw. Put them on the show. Put them on Rumble. I don't care. I want to see that match really, really badly, and I think the Royal Rumble would be a good place to have it. But they're not gonna. So let's get into the Rumble predictions. It's Rhea Ripley, right? Like, it's absolutely Rhea Ripley after a couple of years ago where her and Bianca were the final two in what were probably the best final two in a Rumble in a very long time. Now, Rhea can win because the only person who was able to stop her last time, Bianca, has the title. And then you could set up Rhea versus Bianca for WrestleMania, which is absolutely killer. Seems pretty obvious by the books which way to go. The only other thing I could possibly think you could do, and she doesn't need it because she doesn't need a Rumble win to get her in the title picture, but I'd love to see Becky versus Charlotte. So you could still do Rhea versus Bianca and then have Becky win and then go on to challenge Charlotte. I think those two always have kind of good chemistry with another. It's a feud I'd like to see in Mania. But like I said, I don't think Becky needs that win outside of having a reason to go over to SmackDown from Raw. I can't think of anybody else who needs it. Like, Bayley has already had her feud with Bianca. It was very good. I can't think of anybody else in the division who would be winning right now outside of Rhea. So that's my prediction for the Women's Rumble, is Rhea Ripley. Although Becky would be fun too, but she doesn't need it. Up next, we've got the Women's Championship on the line as Bianca BelAir takes on Alexa Bliss. Bianca's gonna win, hold till Mania at least, I think. This is a weird one for me, because I think I may be the only person on the internet who digs the Alexa Bliss stuff right now. I really enjoy this kind of darkness slowly overtaking her thing, but now it's kind of reached this it's reached the shit or get off the pot moment, and I don't foresee them doing well with that. My idea for how Bianca comes out on top is we get Bliss kind of dominating. We get like hints of the Alexa Bliss fiend who like was unable to feel anything and was able to fight back against anybody. I think we're gonna get hints of that. And then Alexa sets up Bianca for the Sister Abigail, and as she does, lights go out, smoke fills, Uncle Howdy comes out, beckons to Alexa. She just drops Bianca where she lie, and either walks out or Bianca grabs her while she's distracted, hits her with the KOD, and gets the pin. I'd rather see that version because it's not a screwy non-finish, but either way, I want to see Alexa walking away with Uncle Howdy to set up something later in the show. So that's my prediction for that, is that Bianca BelAir is going to win. Now the Mountain Dew match. Shit, I'm sorry, like, what was up with Mountain Dew where they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna sponsor the match between Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. Like, this is gonna be what gets people to buy Mountain Dew. This match is gonna... No, quit showing footage from next week's vlog. Quit showing the footage of me drinking the Mountain Dew. No, I didn't do it. It wasn't because of the match. I swear. I didn't buy Mountain Dew because of this match. It's not a good soda, I'll just say that. So I think in this one, LA Knight is going to pick up the victory. Yes, I know it's Bray's first match in multiple years, but I think LA Knight needs to take it to continue the storyline going forward, to keep his LA Knight's star on the rise, because, spoiler alert, I think LA Knight should win Money in the Bank and be the one to cash in on Cody. I think that would be very, very fun. Or cash in on whoever the other title holder is, because I think they're going to split them after Roman drops. So, yeah, I think LA Knight needs to keep his star rising, which means we have to figure out a way for Bray Wyatt to lose. And I don't know how that's gonna happen, to be honest with you. Because it's a Mountain Dew pitch black match. According to LA Knight, he thinks it's like Extreme Rules, but it's dark or something. I'm hoping it's just like a cinematic match, because at this point, I'm praying WWE have realized you don't put Bray Wyatt in normal matches. They're never good. His best match was a cinematic match with John Cena. Let him keep doing that so you can do weird stuff throughout it. LA Knight's gonna get close to beating Bray, and then Uncle Howdy's going to come out, but with Alexa Bliss. And Bray's going to be staring out, and there's going to be hints of that former relationship with Bliss in his head, because one of her big former lines was, "The Fiend's not the one in control, I am." So I think this storyline is going to completely change everything we know about Bray Wyatt, taking him from being the leader, as he always was, to the biggest follower and the biggest manipulated person, with Alexa Bliss being part of that manipulation, and then Uncle Howdy being an even bigger part of that manipulation. So I think that he's going to bring out Alexa, Uncle Howdy, from the previous match, and drop her with a Sister Abigail right in front of Bray. Bray is going to snap, disappear, and then the camera angle they always love in WWE, where someone just peeks up above the ring, and it's going to be The Fiend, and The Fiend is going to either decimate Uncle Howdy. I don't think that's going to be what happens, but The Fiend is going to be brought back. I'm not sure why is the thing, because, okay, yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into what happened. So on SmackDown, the Firefly Funhouse came back, right? I think that in the lore Bray Wyatt's trying to say is that the Firefly Funhouse is essentially where he locks away all of his humanity, all of the goodness, all of the hope, all of the everything that a good human being is gets locked away in the funhouse. That's why that version of Bray is always like, "Hi, how are you?" He's a good human being. He's all of Bray's goodness brought to light, with the Fiend playing the role of the evil, demonic, fiendish side of Bray Wyatt. And the only way the Fiend can come out is if he locks away all of his good. So I think when we saw the Firefly Funhouse on SmackDown, that was an indication that he's locking away his good and the Fiend is coming back. And I think that's what Uncle Howdy has been wanting. And Uncle Howdy is probably gonna be, we'll get into that, but I think Uncle Howdy's trying to manipulate him into bringing the Fiend back to lock away the good part of Bray, because I think the Fiend can be manipulated, maybe, because all he is a murder monster that you point at a problem and it fixes it. And also everything that he does weakens actual Bray and strengthens the Fiend. I don't know, dude. I don't know how the Fiend lore works. I just know it's finally kind of good a little bit after SmackDown, so I don't know. So my thought process here is that Uncle Howdy comes out, and if he's not already the Fiend, that's what brings the Fiend out of Bray Wyatt, and he takes over, and then either the Fiend wins, which, yeah, sure, that could be what happens, I guess. I want LA Knight to win, probably not, but I really want him to win. Then Uncle Howdy gets in the ring, smiles at the Fiend, drops him with the Sister Abigail, actually hurts him. This is the first time we see the Fiend really go down. Uncle Howdy takes off the mask, and it's Bo Dallas, obviously, because we're building to Bray versus Bo at Mania, allegedly, or more specifically, Bray versus Uncle Howdy. So we would have Uncle Howdy versus the Fiend at Mania, whatever. This could be good. Probably not. but it could be, who knows. So that's my prediction for that match. That went on way too long. Undisputed WWE Universal Championship, Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns. Roman's winning. I feel bad. This is gonna be match of the night. I'm already calling it. This is gonna be match of the night. My favorite match of Roman's reign so far as champion was his match with Kevin, the last man standing match at the Rumble a couple of years ago. Outside of the J matches, but I didn't like those for the wrestling. I liked those for the drama of it all. So my favorite actual wrestling match was the last man standing, and I think they are going to bring that back in spades with this one. I think Sami will probably get involved at the end. I think Sami will be who costs Kevin the title, and I think that's going to drive a bit more of a wedge between those two, which is going to make it all the sweeter when they finally unite. But beyond that, I don't really foresee anything other than a banger between these two. I think it's just going to be a really good match. I don't really see any way it could go to get super interesting. This is the beginning of this storyline, really, not the end of it. So I'm not sure where this goes, but Roman's retaining, obviously. Up next, the main Rumble. Wow, we've already arrived. That's the beauty about having to predict Royal Rumbles, is that it's 3 matches and then 2 Rumbles. So that's it. So it's Cody, right? Like, they've really made it pretty obvious that it's going to be Cody. It's definitely Cody. There's no one else. I saw someone earlier say there were really 4 options for the Rumble victory. Cody, obviously. Seth, which would be interesting. Brock, which absolutely not. No way in hell. Do not have Brock win. Brock's going to they're probably going to carry Brock Lashley all the way to Mania. That's going to be the big story between those two. As far as Seth is concerned, I would love it. It definitely seems like not at all where they're going, unfortunately, but I do think, honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing Seth win and night 1, Seth defeats Roman for the title, and then Cody defeats Roman for the other title. Do something like that. I think Seth should be the one who dethrones Roman on one of them. Their feud was one of my favorite feuds of Roman's entire reign, because it added another layer to Roman's character, where he kind of was pseudo babyface against Rollins. Yeah, I'd love to see Rollins win, but there was a 4th name on there, and it's the name that I would like to see. And it's Sami Zayn winning the Rumble. Not to go on to challenge Roman at Mania, which would break a pretty long... I think the last person who won the Rumble that didn't challenge for the title was probably... Was it Stone Cold? I think it might have been Austin at WrestleMania 13, I think. Was that the Bret Hart match? All I remember is that Bret was the champion at the time. Austin wins the Rumble, and then Bret loses the title somewhere along the way, and Austin's like, I don't give a damn about no belt. I want to take out the damn Hitman. So, yeah, I think Sami would win. And then Roman, of course, because he's part of the bloodline, Roman would force him to give up that title opportunity. And Sami, not wanting to upset the bloodline, being aware that he just went through court, is willing to give it up. And it's a little bit sad, and it's a dark moment. And this is the first real time outside of that amazing segment on Raw. This would be the first time we really start to see Sami be like, actually, fuck these guys. These dudes suck. Like, I had an opportunity to main event Mania, and he forced me to give this up. This is the first time we really see Sami, the character, start to fall apart as far as his connection to the bloodline goes. Fast forward a bit, and at Elimination Chamber, I don't know if they still do that between Mania and Rumble, but I hope they do. At Elimination Chamber, we have a 6-man Elimination Chamber to determine the #1 contender for Mania, and it would be like Cody, Kevin, probably Baron Corbin for some reason. They always put him in multi-man matches. 3 heels, 3 baby faces, whatever. And the beginning story of the match would be as Kevin starts going to the ring, the Usos assault him, Solo is about to hit him with the Samoan Spike, and then Sami rushes, and much like Jay saved him, he saves Kevin from the Samoan Spike. And at that point, the Usos kind of almost like doubtedly at first aren't sure, but then they turn on him. And then that's where we get the turn. So it's not the bloodline turning on Sami. It's finally Sami being forced to turn on the bloodline because he's refusing. Because the way they've kind of positioned it at this point with Heyman is that Roman won't get rid of Sami Zayn because that's going to give Kevin Owens an advantage. After the Rumble, that's not so much there, so they could break them up there, but I'd much rather see Sami be the one to turn on the bloodline and turn on them to save Kevin from Solo. And then you get that heartbreaking moment of like, because the thing with the bloodline and the thing with the Usos is that it's really, they're the ones that know it's all about family. They're the ones who prove what the bloodline is all about, is they are about family. Unlike Roman, who is in it for the attention and the accolades and the adoration of being considered, he is in it for acknowledgement. Acknowledge him. Whereas the Usos are in it for family. That's what Jay proved when he was willing to quit at the Hell in a Cell to save Jimmy. They're there about family. And when Sami saves Kevin, that will be that moment of, wait a minute, you're betraying the family now. And that's the moment they turn. And it's not a turn based on evil. It's not a turn based on hatred. It is a turn simply based on the fact that Sami is going against their family, which is a lot more compelling than a normal ass heel turn, I think. So yeah, I think Sami would be very compelling to win, but I think it's Cody. But that's where I think things are kind of going forward in the future. I think I'd love to see Sami. I'd love to see an Elimination Chamber match. I don't know. But hey, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Like I said, this Rumble seems a little paint by numbers, so I tried to spice it up with a few of these predictions. But what do you think in the comments below? Leave your predictions for the Royal Rumble 2023. And it looks like it's time, ladies and gentlemen, to get ready on that road to WrestleMania, and I'd love for you guys to join us, so make sure to subscribe down below, like, comment, do whatever YouTube people do, because when you're a fight boy, you're a fight boy for life.